Happening today, the CDC starts a two-day meeting. They will discuss who should get the COVID-19 booster and when, once the FDA gives final approval. Lots of layers and steps here. Now, all this comes as Pfizer seeks approval for children's vaccines. Health experts say that could be the game changer in ending the pandemic. And joining us right now with more on that is Dr. Edwin Michael, Center for Global Health Infectious Disease Research at University of South Florida. Always good to see you, Doctor. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very good, Amy. Good morning.
Good morning to you. Okay, so I feel like it's sort of like second verse same as the first. We keep saying maybe this will be the way to end the pandemic. Maybe this will be the way to get to herd immunity. Could this finally be the answer? Is vaccinating the younger people?
Yeah, I mean, so there are 5 points to consider, right? The first thing is we are very close to herd immunity. We are now about 80%, the total population, I mean. And we are estimating herd immunity to occur when we reach about 89% of the people immune. So we are very close, about 10%, let's say. And we are estimating that herd immunity will be reached in the middle of October, right? So which is about a month from now. And if that is the case, the Pfizer vaccines, which are going to be delivered to kids, and I think that's going to happen middle of November at the earliest. So that is not going to do very much for achieving herd immunity. But, it's important to vaccinate children for the following four reasons. The first thing is, even if the peak has already occurred for this particular wave, but there's a long tail for the pandemic, until it fades away. And we are estimating if immunity was permanent or long-term, this pandemic will end in February next year. Now, if you vaccinate children who are the most dominant transmitters right now in a community, then you will shorten that tail. And we should be able to come out of this pandemic, by the end of December. So that is a major reason to vaccinate children. The other major reason to vaccinate children is that since they are now the most dominant of the transmitting groups, now we don't want to prolong transmission in the community because that will give opportunities for mutants to emerge. So we want to vaccinate as fast as possible. As more people that we can vaccinate, the better. The fourth reason is, that vaccinating children will also shore up population immunity if immunity were to wane. So those are the reasons why we should vaccinate children. And this is really good news that we can vaccinate children. But in terms of reaching herd immunity, that's not going to make a big difference.
Doc, understandably, there are going to be some parents who are not going to want to vaccinate their children because they're nervous or whatever the reason that they might have. What would you say to those parents?
Yeah, I would say that, until we get as high level that we can get, population vaccination rates, as high as we can get, this pandemic, might throw up surprises, like I said, the mutants. So we don't want to prolong transmission in the community. And like I said, this is an infectious disease. Every case is also a risk factor. So by reducing, the opportunity for the virus to spread among the community by vaccinating people, we will, end this pandemic, faster than what it can, become, if we don't vaccinate people. So these vaccines are very safe, and we need to vaccinate kids.
Do you think that COVID will become a seasonal illness that we're going to have to deal with, just like the flu? What is your vision for the future?
Yeah, so that is going to turn on how long immunity will last. If immunity were short-term, it will fade. If immunity were to wane, then the pandemic will never, like I said, if immunity is permanent, this pandemic will end. Either end of the year, we can vaccinate children, or in February. That is predicated on the fact that immunity is long-term. If it's not long-term, then you'll get cycles. This will just settle down into like flu, and you'll get resurgences occurring periodically, in the future. And the size of the resurgence will depend, once again, on duration of immunity, and the period between the waves will also depend on the duration of immunity.
So, Doc, we know that Moderna has come up with this shot that they're still working on that is both a flu shot and a COVID shot, right? They're going to do both together. Do you anticipate that we're going to be seeing something like that in the future?
I think, the only way, if immunity were to wane, then we need the boosters. And by combining the boosters with the flu shots, that will be a fantastic way, to try and vaccinate the population.
Well, it certainly is a fascinating time, and the research you're doing is so helpful. Dr. Edwin Michael with USF, thank you so much. As always, we appreciate your expertise here on Good Day Orlando.
Thank you, Amy, and be safe, everybody.
You too.